I'd hit it. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending tonight's Plan Commission regular meeting for July 7th. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sergio, roll call, please.
Bob Burleson,
Here.
Yolanda Cardona,
I'm here.
John Gill. Here. Nancy Woland,
Here.
John Kennedy.
Here?
Also present is Attorney Adam Decker,
Yes.
Engineer Ken Kraus,
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak,
Present.
and Town Manager Chris Salatas.
Present.
So we have a quorum, so we can take action tonight. Next on the agenda is minutes. If I can get motion to defer, we do not have any minutes ready for tonight's meeting.
Motion to defer minutes.
I have a motion to defer. Is there a second to defer?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bob Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to defer passes. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing for primary plat review of the Preserve West. Jack, how are you this evening?
Good evening.
Jack, if you want to give the board just an update before we open it up to public hearing, that'd be great.
Good evening. My name is Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing the Preserve, and we are here tonight requesting primary plat approval for 137 lots on 134 acres, known as Preserve West. This project started in June of last year. We went through a number of study sessions and Plan Commission meetings in the fall of last year to achieve the PUD zoning. We tweaked the plan along the way with input from the board. We ended up with all 90 to 100-foot wide lots and approximately 70 feet of open space so that there are no lots backing up to each other. We received our PUD approval in October of 2020, and since that time, we have been working on the engineering drawings. We've been working back and forth with Ken Kraus, the town engineer, and we believe we are ready to request primary plat approval. We did go through the process of the public hearing of notifying the adjacent property owners, the notice in the paper, and the sign on the site, and in addition, did pay the $1,500 application fee. So that's basically the oversight. I do have plats to hand out. I know they have some versions that they can put up on the board also, but whenever you would like to, if you want to ask questions or if you want to open the public hearing.
Well, it says, the board, come back to the board. Is there any questions from the board before we open it up to public hearing? Jack, I have one question. Your entrance on 101st, is there, I know you have a sign on 93rd, White Oak. Will there be a sign in the center?
Yes.
For Preserve,
Yeah,
okay.
identical entrance will duplicate what we've done at the other two, and, yeah, try to mimic it. This will be the third entrance now into the Preserve.
And then you have a bike path from the study session that goes along your western border, is that correct? Bike path?
Yeah, let me.
How far is the distance? Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, it's upside down.
We have a couple of bike paths designed into the system. This will, the site will be developed in 3 phases, as shown on the color drawing I put out. The first phase will get the connection into the existing preserve and out to 101st. There will be a bike path along the creek that will get us out to the entrance, at which point we'll have a crosswalk across 101st. and we will be installing a sidewalk on the south side of 101st rather than the north side of 101st, so that we can tie everything together with Saddle Creek and ultimately Greystone. So there'll be some nice connectivity. We also have a bike path or a walking path on the west side of our site, just kind of following the west border and up along through the site and tying, so there's a nice loop around the site.
The Phase 1 bike trail, the blue or purple, how far off the property line is that?
Varies anywhere from 10 feet to 30 feet probably.
Okay, and it's a 10-foot wide path?
Yes, 10
Okay.
foot paved.
All right, very good. Any other questions from the board before I open up the public hearing? Hearing none. Sergio, are we ready to go to public hearing? Everything's in order?
Everything's in order for public hearing.
All right, at this time, I'm going to open it up to public hearing. The public hearing is now open for the Preserve West primary plat review. It's for 137 single-family lots and outlots at 10365 West 101st Avenue. If you want to make any comments, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then we'll go from there. I'm sorry, Ken, is there a sign-in sheet? Did anyone sign in for this? If you would just state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Jeannie DeGraue, DeGrawe, 14310 West 101st Avenue. My husband and I own the 16.8 acres that is adjacent to this proposed development. I would just like to reiterate what my request that I made at the zoning hearing a couple months ago. I also put the request in writing to Mr. Eberly in October of 2020 and again to Mr. Mendoza last month. We are requesting that a privacy fence or some kind of a delineation barrier be put up at the western border of this property line. And my husband and I have horses. I'm concerned about the safety to my horses. I'm concerned about, now there's going to be a bike path adjacent to our property line within 10 feet of our property line. And that concerns me. If someone should happen to wander off of their trail and the property is not delineated, they break a leg on my property, it's not the developer's problem. Then it becomes our problem. So I'm concerned that this opens my husband and I to unwarranted risk and liability. And I would just like to see that risk and liability diminish to the extent possible. No amount of privacy fence, I don't care how high it is, we are never going to regain our privacy or our peace and quiet. That will be lost to us forever. So I'm just asking that the board work with the developer and have a privacy fence installed. Right now, there's no delineation between the two property lines. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you for coming up and making those comments. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Sergio, did you receive anything electronically? If not, I do have the two letters that I will read for the public.
Just those two letters.
All right, so we did receive two letters. The first one is from Jack Ponak. He lives in Bramblewood neighborhood at lot number 32. It reads, the subject property is to be reviewed at public hearing. I won't be able to make that at public hearing. I live in Bramblewood neighborhood at lot number 32. A few years ago, the farmer or someone intentionally or unintentionally flooded the area generally identified in a red circle in the attached photo. And it looks like it's just south of where Bull Run north and then turn south. It would be like where lots 568, 567, 569, in that general area. That's where he's sort of highlighted. Identified with the red circle in the attached photo of the development plat survey. It stayed flooded as a large pond the entire summer. My backyard was unusable for much of the summer, and I was unable to mow it for much of this summer. How will this development affect my property? In looking at the development, can you tell me if the surface runoff into Bull Run Ditch will increase? Will the rate of surface runoff into Bull Run Ditch during precipitation increase? Does the surface water drainage for this development result in no net increase into Bull's Run Ditch compared to today? That was from Jack Honak, and all I can tell you is he is at lot number 32 in Brambleton. The second letter that was received prior to the public hearing where is it? It was from Adolph and Janine DeGraw. Am I saying that correctly? DeGrawy. Thank you for the correction. It says, Dear Mr. Eberly, well, I was addressed to Mr. Eberly, it was sent prior to the public hearing. My husband and I own 16.8 acre parcel immediately to the west of the 134 acres recently approved for the zoning by the St. John Planning Commission. At the September 2nd Plan Commission meeting, I asked for that a permanent barrier be constructed on the westernmost border of this proposed development, which is our shared property line. We have horses located on our property, and this proposed development causes a great risk to the safety and welfare of our animals and our property. If our horse fencing is breached, allowing our animals to escape their enclosure, this poses a threat to their safety and the safety of anyone unfamiliar with handling large animals. I noted that the newest preliminary drawing submitted by the developer has a proposed walking bike path adjacent to our property line. We have standard electric horse fencing. I am not sure the voltage of the electrical charge going into the fence, but it is such that it will knock back a 1,500-pound animal. What if a small child leaves that path and approaches our fence? Since there is no clear delineation of which our property line exists versus the end of the subdivision, this is a very likely scenario. Even if the electric fence is not activated at the time, any person can approach our horses and can be bitten or kicked, or a person can trip and sprain an ankle on our property. This is a huge insurance liability that the town and the developers are asking us unfairly to assume. At the September meeting, I believe it was mentioned that the town does not mandate barriers for like-use properties. Right now, the parcels are like-use because they are both farm fields. Once the ground is broken for a road or a sewer, there is no commonality between the properties any longer. Due to the high risk liability to us, I implore the town to make it incumbent upon the developer to erect a privacy barrier to protect us as property owners. We are not asking for construction-grade concrete barriers, but a privacy fence that cannot be breached would be very much appreciated by us. Thank you for your consideration. I will ask again if anyone from the public would like to speak. Anyone? Going once? Going twice? The public hearing for primary plat of Preserve West is now closed. Jack, I bring it back to you. You've heard some of the concerns. I don't know how you would like to address them, or if you want to address them.
Yeah, thank you. I will, I'll address that one that's up on the board with the gentleman that was concerned about the runoff and the drainage. And Doug Reddick is here also from DVG, our engineer, if there are specific questions, but I know he's been working with your town engineer on the drainage for the site. One of the unique aspects of this site is that we will be digging and creating a new 8-acre lake on the south end of the site. And so we've gone through some extensive engineering in order to channel all of the drainage, the road drainage and the most of the rear yard drainage back through the site into this 8-acre lake. As a perspective of the size of this lake, the lake that's at Prairie West Park right now is 4 acres. So this is twice the size of the lake at Prairie West Park. And actually at normal water level, it will be 8 acres. And once it's full, if it were ever to fill up from a rain, it actually ends up with 9 acres of surface area. So we've done a substantial amount of engineering to get the water back and store it on site. The area that they had circled up on that north end is identified as a wetland. You can see it kind of in your color drawing. It's way up at the north end, and it's low, and it does flood and stay wet. So we've stayed away from any of the low area on the site, kept the lots on the high ground, and then also, like I said, channeled the runoff back into the lake. As far as the neighbor to the west, we are open to a fence of some sort along our west property line. We typically don't allow fences in our development other than wrought iron type fences, but we would be open to some sort of like possibly a split rail fence or something along the west property line, and also we would be willing to install signage along that property line, identifying it as private property, no trespassing. So, we're open to working with the neighbor on those sorts of things to keep their property separate from ours.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? I guess, Adam, question for you, what Jack Slager has just suggested, a working cooperation with the neighbor. Is that something we put in a contingency on the primary plat approval? Or is that just something he would work out with the neighbor? I mean, I don't want to get into.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think it's the latter, only because that's not required as part of the subdivision control ordinance. And so the applicant is presenting the application for the plat today, and I don't believe there's any requirement in the subdivision control ordinance that requires that fence.
So it's just, hopefully the two parties could work out something amenable to both parties. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I do have a letter from Ken that I would like to read into the record before any further discussion, so the board has an understanding. This is from Ken Kraus from
Hold
Hassan.
on 1 second. I have a
Okay.
question, Jack. On the plat, it shows a 30-foot NIPSCO easement across lot 518, 519, 520,
Yep.
524. Is that something's going to stay, or is it going to be vacated?
That'll be gone. That's
Okay.
that's the service to the existing farmhouse.
Oh, okay,
So that'll go away in time
okay,
before we get to final plat.
okay.
Anyone online? Questions, comments for Jack? If not, I'll read Ken's letter. Ken's letter is, Dear Plan Commission, we have reviewed the primary plat for the reference.
This is Yolanda. I was just going to ask the same thing that you asked, whether the... Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Yolanda.
Okay, great. No, I was just going to ask essentially what you asked about whether that contingency should be included in the approval today, but I think the attorney kind of, indicated that it can't be or it shouldn't be. But to the extent that maybe the homeowner and Jack, since they're both there, could talk to figure out how that issue could be resolved amongst themselves, that would be great.
That is exactly what Adam has recommended or suggested to the board, since it is not part of our requirements of our subdivision control ordinance. All right. Are you satisfied, Yolanda, with that?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, no,
very
I
good. I'm
am.
sorry.
I had the same question you did, so
Okay.
we're good.
Okay, very good. So again, I'm going to read Ken Kraus's letter to the Plan Commission. This project includes 137 RC1 PUD lots, 4 outlots, associated infrastructure and facilities on 134.02 acres. We have reviewed the plans prepared by DVG Team, Inc., dated 6/20/21, and find them to be satisfactory except for the following. Sidewalks at 3 T intersections are not shown to have access across the street. B, several easements needed to be added to the plat for flood routes between houses. Then 3, the application fee of $1,500 is to be paid prior to Plan Commission primary plat approval. A development fee which will be calculated 2% of the construction cost minus the paid $1,500 application fee will be due prior to secondary plat approval. And I think you paid the...
I did.
You did pay the fees we received. And then the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, SWIP, has not been reviewed at this time. The fee for review will be determined at the time of review. So, in talking with Ken earlier, items 2A and B, we'll make sure get resolved prior to, if this moves towards a secondary plat approval. So, with that, any questions or comments from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion. This is a motion for the Plan Commission to either approve, deny, or is our luxury to also defer if we wanted to.
I want to make a motion to approve the Preserve West,
Can you reference the
and
finding of
the
facts?
reference of findings of facts and Ken's letter, Ken Krause's letter.
We have a motion to approve referencing the finding of facts, including Ken's letter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. That opens it up to discussion. Is there any further discussion from the board? Jack, if I think you've heard from a couple board members, I hope you would be willing to work with that property owner. I think there are some valid concerns. Unfortunately, we don't have any control, but hopefully you guys could work together on getting that resolved. Thank you. With that, hearing no other comments, Sergio, if I can get a roll call, please.
Bob Rolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to approve passes. Thank you, Jack. Next on the agenda, Tractor Supply Company. We have been advised they are not here. If I can get a motion to defer, so we will put them on the August meeting. So if I can get a motion to defer?
I'll make a motion to defer Tractor Supply Company's site plan approval to the August meeting.
I have a motion to defer. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Nancy, I got a second from Nancy. Any discussion from the board? Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Bob Rolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to defer. That would then be another public hearing. So they have to put that out again? Or they would just renew it?
They haven't done it, so.
They haven't done it,
So
so
they'll do
they
it.
will do it. All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda, old and new business. We have Myers Edition, Unit 3, Block 4, final plat review. Doug, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good evening, Doug Reddick from DVG, representing Dennis Myers, Dancing Waters LLC. I do have handouts if you need them, but I think you have electronic copies, but whatever you prefer. Read them?
I'll take one, Doug. You printed them, I'll take one.
Yeah. I'll take one too.
Wait, does shell drive not go through now?
I've seen it many times.
Yeah, just, yeah, then something.
Wait, was this the one they were looking at doing more down here?
Right.
The one right up against the lake, isn't it? Just about.
Yeah, remember with the pipe line.
We were doing some, yeah.
Lake is actually like
So they're just,
here.
maybe something in the future.
Yeah, I
Everybody
guess.
So
come down.
what we're asking for tonight is final plan approval on the last block of Myers Edition Unit 3. This project was started, I don't know how many years ago now, but it's been in 3 different approved and platted blocks. But even includes a commercial property up on frontage on Route 41. So this is just the remaining 4 lots at the very south end of the subdivision. Mr. Myers had already installed that loop road a couple years ago. He just never finish that road going to the south, so we could not plat some of those lots because the road wasn't installed. So this just kind of cleans up what was originally approved as Myers Addition Unit 3, and Ken's reviewed the drawing, had a couple of revisions that we made, and we are requesting final plat approval for the last block of Myers Addition Unit 3.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
Is a developer planning on doing something on the south end? Because I'm concerned that it's just gonna stay like this and,
He was in my office today. He signed the Mylars, which I presented tonight. We had a brief conversation about it. He intends to finish something down there. He wants to put a couple buildings down there on the lake. He wants to put in a cul-de-sac. You know, at the time we got this approved, we didn't know what was going to happen there, but yeah, he wants to do that. He's also looking to slow down a little bit. Mr. Myers is. I think he said he's 80 years old, but he intends to do something there.
Okay.
He said probably this fall is what he told me. I'll be coming back in, trying to figure out. We presented some sketch plans to
right,
you.
yeah, I know we had some
It's just not,
discussion.
this is what his focus is, to get a few more lots online. He said this is gonna take him a couple years to build these, but he said this fall and winter, we'll probably be presenting the finish of this. And then there'll be some discussion whether it's gonna be an amendment to this PUD, which we don't really wanna do, or a little standalone 2-lot subdivision.
Okay.
But he wants to put a cul-de-sac there and make it look nice, so.
Oh, that's a great question, Bob, because, yeah, that's going to termini there. You just don't want it
Right, forever. You know.
forever.
He-
You
he
want
doesn't-
some
He
sort
doesn't
of,
want that either.
okay, okay, very good. Anyone else, comments, questions? If not, I will read Ken Kraus's letter to the board. Hearing no other comments or questions, this is from Ken Kraus. We have reviewed the secondary plat for the reference project and have the following comments. The subdivision includes 4 lots, 1 outlot, and associated facilities on a total of 2.775 acres. We have reviewed the plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee was paid for the entire Dancing Water project in May 2015. The public improvements are complete. A letter of credit is not required. However, since the aggregate road base was installed before the proof roll test could be performed on the subbase, the town is requesting the warranty for this portion of road be extended for additional 2 years. The proof roll on the aggregate road base did pass. If you have any questions, please contact this office.
And Mr. Myers indicated he was fine with that extended warranty.
Ken, did we get something in writing? How does that work? Or,
Well, they can get us some little legal document that says warranty, and it's for 4
Okay.
years instead of 2.
okay. We good with something like that?
Well, and it can also be part of the motion. It can be included in the motion.
So whoever makes a motion, just to make sure, if we don't have, not that I don't trust Mr. Myers or what Doug's saying, just whoever makes a motion for this, let's just make sure that we get something in writing to extend the road warranty for additional 2 years. Please also reference the finding of facts in Ken's letter.
That's good.
You ready?
Whenever you are, or when, yeah.
Like to make a motion to approve Myers Addition Unit 3, Block 4, with referencing to the findings of facts and Ken Kraus's letter, July 2nd, 2021, and a letter from the developer to extend the road warranty
For 2 years.
for 2 years.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve final plat review for Myers Addition, referencing finding of facts, referral to Ken's letter, and a supplied letter providing an additional 2-year warranty to the road. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second. Discussion. Anyone from the board have any further comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, I will take a roll call. please, Sergio?
Bob Rolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Wolland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes. Final plat approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Walden Clearing Phase 3 Final Plat Review. This is for 10 single-family lots and 2 outlots at 8209 West 93rd Avenue. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. Jeff Yatsko, Old Hoff Homes. Tonight, we are seeking final plat approval for Walden Clearing. This is 10 lots, and this will finish the development. And these are the lots on the south side of 93rd. We did receive the letter from Ken, so I'm asking tonight for an approval contingent upon providing the surety bond and the development fee that he has listed in his letter.
So you're going to do a surety bond?
Yeah, we'll provide the performance bond for the $81,077.75.
Okay. So the board in the past, what we have done is we have made 2 motions for this. One, we've made the motion based on how we want to proceed with the final plat review, and then there has been a second motion giving a recommendation for the town council to accept the surety bond in the dollar amount of $81,077.75. So we'll go through 2 motions. One, depending on how we want to proceed with final plat review, and then second, I'll seek a secondary motion for a recommendation for the town to accept the surety bond. So with that, if there's any questions or comments from Jeff, if not, I will read the letter from Ken. Hearing no questions or comments for, Jeff. The letter from Ken is, 1, Dear Plan Commission, this subdivision includes 10 lots, 2 outlots, and associated facilities on a total of 17.731 acres. 2, we have reviewed the plat and find it to be satisfactory. 3, the development fee is $6,091.33. This fee is based on 2% of the construction. The public improvements are not complete. A letter of credit should be submitted to the town in the amount of, it's $68,604.25 to ensure the improvements are installed, or as Althoff has said, or a surety bond or other method of ensuring the completion of this work is submitted. It should be in the amount of $81,077.75. If you have any questions, please contact this office. So, if not, I will entertain a motion. The board, again, referencing finding of fact in Ken's letter, and then we will follow up with a secondary motion regarding town council acceptance of a surety bond or recommendation.
Want to make a motion to approve Walden Clearing Phase 3 final plat and reference of finding of facts and Ken's letter dated July 2nd, 2021.
I have a motion to approve final plat approval, referencing finding of facts in Ken's letter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I got a second. That opens it up for discussion or comments. Anyone have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will, Sergio, if we can get roll call, please.
Bob Rolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Wolland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to approve primary plat of Walden Clearing Phase 3. Now, can I get a recommendation to the town council to accept a surety bond or other bond in the amount of $81,077.75?
Like to make a recommendation for a surety bond of $81,077.75 for the Walden Clearing Phase 3.
I have a favorable recommendation for the town to accept a surety bond in $81,077.75. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
We got a second. I'm going to give that one to Nancy. We got a second to Nancy. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Bob Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Wolland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion passes. E, Summerlin Estates. We have final plat approval for Phase 3, 33 single-family lots and 2 outlots at 13201 West 109th Avenue. Mr. Yatsko.
Jeff Yatsko, Olthoff Homes. This is Summerlin Estates Phase 3, 33 lots. This again will complete Summerlin Estates. Pretty much the same as Walden. We're asking for this to be approved contingent upon us providing the development fee listed in Ken's letter. And then we will also provide a performance surety bond in the amount of $112,514.93.
Like writer's cramp. No thanks.
Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, let me read Ken's letter. Dear Plan Commission, we have reviewed the secondary plat for the reference project, Summerlin Estates Phase 3. This subdivision includes 33 lots, 1 outlot, and associated facilities on a total of 19.96 acres. We have reviewed the plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee is $15,379.25. This fee is based on 2% of construction costs. The public improvements are not complete. A letter of credit should be submitted to the town in the amount of $95,204.55 to ensure the improvements will be installed, or as Mr. Yatsko said, surety bond or other method of ensuring the completion of this work is submitted. It should be in the amount of $112,514.93. If you have any questions, please contact Ken. Again, it's a pleasure of the board to approve, deny, defer final plat review for Summerlin Estates Phase 3. In doing so, please reference finding of fact in Ken's letter.
Like to approve Summerlin Estates Phase 3 secondary plat, referencing finding of facts and Ken's letter, July 2nd, 2021.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Got a second from Nancy. Questions, comments from the board? Hearing
That was
none.
Yolanda.
I'm sorry?
That was Yolanda that seconded.
I apologize. Sorry,
No
Yolanda.
problem.
It's okay.
Yolanda got the second on that one. All right, so we got a motion and a second. No discussions, or if there's no discussions, roll call, please, Sergio.
Bob Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Wolland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes. If I can get the board to make a favorable recommendation for the town council to accept a surety bond or other method in the amount of $112,514.93 from a bond from Altoff for Summerlin Estates Phase 3.
Like to make a favorable recommendation for a security bond of $112,514.93 for Summerlin Estates Phase 3.
I have a favorable recommendation to the town council to accept a surety bond in the amount, as Bob said. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bob Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Wolland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda, we have a Greystone Unit 1, Block 6, final plat review. This is for 21 single-family lots and 1 outlot at 10609 Calumet Avenue. Mr. Slager?
Good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing CWS Holdings, the developers of Greystone. This will be the final phase of Greystone on the east side of Calumet Avenue, way down in the southeast corner. We went through a number of meetings towards the end of last year. We had to go through some annexation, some rezoning, and so this is the final phase, 21 single-family lots and a expansion of the detention pond. We were hoping that all the infrastructure would be in at this point, but the week of rain that we had a week ago set us back about 2 weeks. So we're still, utilities are all in, we're still working on the roads. So I talked to Ken, and I brought the plats tonight. We would leave you the plats and ask you to wait to sign them until we get the roads in. So it should be about 2 weeks out.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board to Jack? If not, I will read Ken's letter. Dear Plan Commission, this subdivision, we have reviewed the secondary plat for the reference project and have the following comments. This subdivision includes 21 lots, 1 outlot, and associated facilities on a total of 8 acres, 8.964 acres. We have reviewed the plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee is $7,738.36. This fee is based on 2% of the construction costs minus the $1,500 application fee that has already been paid. The public improvements have not been completed. The developer asked that the signatures be withheld from the secondary plat until public improvements are constructed. So if it's a pleasure of the board to entertain a motion, please reference finding of fact in Ken's letter.
Then all the numbers.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Greystone Unit 1, Block 6, secondary plat, referencing findings of facts and Ken Krause's July 6, 2021 letter.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bob Brolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to approve passes. Next on the agenda, we have Greystone Unit 3, Block 1. This is final plat review as well, 31 family lots and 1 outlot on 16.8 acres at 10606 Calumet Avenue. Mr. Slager.
Again, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing Greystone, and this will be the first block of Unit 3, which is the single-family lots on the west side of Calumet Avenue. Same scenario, the utilities are complete, the road is ready to go in and should be going in the next week or two. And we have the Mylars that we will leave tonight and wait on the signatures until the infrastructure and the roads are
No, they're
completed.
supposed to have a meeting with Sergio last week.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Neither did our attorney. Thought they were
Jack, there's a bike path going on the north side, right? Outlots?
There is a bike path along the pipeline on the north side and a sidewalk along Calumet.
And is this part of this unit?
It will be, yes.
Okay. So that's part of the facilities? Is there park amenities in that? I thought-
There's park land. We've left space for park amenities, but it's mainly just green space, so it'll be grass.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, I will read Ken's letter. Dear Plan Commission, we have reviewed the secondary plat for the reference project and have the following comments. This subdivision includes 31 lots, 2 outlots, and associated facilities on a total of 16.883 acres. We have reviewed the plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee is $20,772.38. This fee is based on 2% of construction costs minus the $1,500 application fee that has already been paid. The public improvements have not been completed. The developer asked that the signature be withheld from the secondary plat until the public improvements are constructed. Per Ken Krause. Again, I'll entertain a motion referencing finding of fact in Ken Krause's letter.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Greystone Unit 3, Block 1, referencing findings of facts and Ken Krause's July 6, 2021 letter.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that. This is Yolanda.
I got a second from Yolanda. Comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bob Burleson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona,
Yes.
John Gill,
Yes.
Nancy Woland,
Yes.
and John Kennedy.
Yes, motion to approve passes.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, we have Parish Wood. This is mostly just for a status update for the board. There were multiple contingencies on Parish Wood. Has there been any update, Ken?
I did receive an email from Randall Peterson of Aben March asking about the lift station supplier. I instructed him to get a hold of Jason Dravitt, because Jason has all of the requirements for not only the lift station, but the SCADA system that also has to be provided with the lift station. And I talked to Jason just today, even right before this meeting, and they have not contacted him yet. And they have not contacted Austin Electric, who was on the list of people to contact about the SCADA system. So,
Because there was 4 contingencies. It was
yeah,
SCADA, the water main.
the water main and
The
no
easement.
access easement. It was the last one.
So side yard easements, is that, did we,
Side yard
Yeah.
setbacks. We're supposed to be
10 foot,
10 and
10, yeah,
instead of
the
the
10-foot
5.
side yard easements are setbacks, not easements.
So just for the, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have you received
I haven't received anything.
anything? Okay.
So that's why we're keeping it on here, so we.
How long do we keep it on?
I
Mr.
don't-
Decker?
I don't know if there's if there,
That's really the board's discretion and the chairman, as an agenda item, it can either remain on the agenda, but it can come off the agenda.
Yeah.
I think it was just for us to make sure these items are addressed before it comes to us for or for plat approval. So it was more of just it's on the agenda, just making sure.
Well, until these contingencies are satisfied, the approval of the primary plat doesn't take effect. Is that correct? So he
Believe-
cannot start
That's
construction.
what I thought.
That's,
That's my understanding, Mr. Kraus, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure of the board. I mean, we can take it
okay.
off. and
No,
then,
I'm
I mean-
just, yeah, no. I didn't know if it
No, we were,
goes away and.
I think it was
they-
just more for us to make sure no construction starts until these items are addressed.
Okay.
I do. All right, next on the agenda, we have Astoria, proposed rezone PUD at 96 single-family lots at 10122 Parish Avenue. Michael, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Again, my name is Michael Herbers with Diamond Peak. Again, presenting Astoria. We've been here the last couple months in front of you guys. Met with Sergio along with Chris after the last study session. And per their recommendation, they thought it was best to get up here to make an announcement that we would be in front of the town again in August, on August 4th, I believe the next public hearing is, to go in for recommendation on this piece. With that being said, just to kind of recap this development, there will be actually 97 single-family homes in this piece, 74 acres total. Again, bike path along the south border. There will be a park as well. The proposed rezone will be for a minimum of 80-foot wide lots. Again, due to the easement restrictions with that pipeline, along with the overhead power lines, this is the most economical way to make this piece work. With that being said, we do plan on upping the covenants in this development versus our other developments, going with full LP on the home, stone facade on the front, minimum of 25% typically. Of course, concrete driveways, things of that nature. I did ask our director of sales, Rick Hemphill, to join me as well, because he did a tax analysis, kind of going between what this piece would bring to the town if we went with 80-foot wide lots versus the 100-foot wide lots. So I will ask him to join me as well, and he can kind of touch base on that for you guys.
How are you?
I'm Rick Hemphill, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Diamond Peak Homes.
Thank you, sir.
So basically, I compiled 2 different addresses in the gates of St. John and Hanover Township. I wanted to make sure that we established that because a portion of the gates is actually in Lake Central. But the predicating factors are one is 0.25 acres, the other one is 0.40 acres. When I looked at the addresses and their land values, the land value on the 0.25 was $55,700. On the 0.40, it's $65,300, roughly about $10,000 in difference. From what I've seen, usually it's about a 1% that they're looking at. For example, you get a $500,000 house, the taxes are usually right around $5,000 annually, give or take a few $100 depending on assessments. So what Michael asked me to do is just to do a comparison. At 74 lots that are a little bit larger, they're going to assess at $10,000 more each individual lot, but the realized value is only about $100 when you take that 1% into consideration. If we do 97 lots, we're going to give you an additional 23 lots, and on a median house cost of $500,000, that's about an additional $115,000. So that's the numbers that I prepared for you folks.
Questions? I'm sorry, I'm just reviewing this. I apologize.
No worries. I'm sorry if I talked too fast.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
And also, it seems a bit convoluted on how we get there, but that's just raw data from the county assessor's office.
The best thing about this board, we have difference of opinion. Density doesn't scare me. Lot size, I know some of my counterparts who I respect wholeheartly. What was the comment? You don't want to be able to pass tea to your next door sugar to your next door neighbor. I just saw this new layout. I like it much better than that one direct shot road. I do like that look a lot better.
Forgot, yeah, you weren't here at the last study session.
I was not here.
So, yes, we kept the connectivity there. And, you know, 'cause we know you like that versus some other things.
And I'm sorry, board, I'm jumping right in. I didn't offer you. So it looks like to the east, the subdivision to the east of you, they have 80-foot watts as well, like lot 62 to 57 or 57 to 62. It looks like they line up perfectly.
Correct.
So it looks like they're 80-foot wide
there's
lots as well.
80 to the east, you know, to the south, those range anywhere from 65 to 80, I believe. And then the north is, I think there's 80 to 100 as well.
When I looked at this, I mean, lots 82 and 79, it looks, I mean, does that give you guys any concern when you have multiple backyards against someone's side yard? Is that a concern? I mean, it's probably not ideal.
It's not ideal. I mean, everyone has their cup of tea, if you will. You know, lot 74, for example, they have a few backyard neighbors, but with that pie-shaped lot, you know, it is a larger lot. You know, per the covenants, we won't allow privacy fences. We stick to the straight, you know, wrought iron fences to keep the aesthetically pleasing to the eye in the backyards. However, you know, on the sales side of things, of course, Rick could speak more on that behalf, but, you know, it's six of one, half dozen of the other.
Okay. And then, again, density doesn't scare me, but I'm always more concerned with the aesthetic look.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the 25%. Mm-hmm. I would like to see, you know, that wrapped around. My concern, and I brought this, you know, to the attention, is you have in your summary of covenants, you have two items, roof pitch minimum 6.5 or 6.12 and 25% stone, except it says exception upon architectural review. So what kind of, it seems like you're saying you're going to do 25% stone except upon architectural review. And maybe we haven't been, or I haven't been dotting my I's and crossing this T, but it seems like you have a summary of covenants, but upon your architectural review, and I know you want to get the best value out of your home and people want to have their home look, but it seems like you can change this without us even knowing.
True. So there are two plans that we have. That one's a Frank Lloyd Wright style home, and so it has minimized some of the stone restrictions on it. However, you know, that's one thing that if that's a concern, we can make sure that every home has, the 25% stone, and we can find out ways to make that
I
work.
guess he's asking, eliminate the architectural review.
I mean, some of these,
Because it's, now you're opening up the door to let,
I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. Some of these homes that have part brick and then the dorm, or I don't know what you call it, but they have like a side cedar shake, that looks really nice. But I'm just trying to figure out how we sort of maintain, I don't want this plan commission, or I don't want the planning department to be an architecture review if this changes. Have you had this issue arise in another community? Have you addressed it?
May I, real quick? I'm sorry if I may.
I'm just trying to work this out. How do we work out?
That's an actually super legitimate question. What I think is more geared towards is that exact home that he's talking about is the Lincoln. The roof pitches, because of it being such a Frank Lloyd Wright style, does not meet the 612. It can't. It's a prairie style home. So I'm almost positive that when they wrote that language in there, it was to accommodate for that home. And also on the front of it, it doesn't really allow for the stone because, quite frankly, it doesn't really look right. We do have a rendering of that.
My next door neighbor is a Frank Lloyd Wright home, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. That's why it's like I'm more concerned about the value lots, just because you have a bigger lot doesn't mean it's a bigger home.
Sure.
I'm on an R1, but my house is the smallest on the block because I meet the minimum requirement required by the town. So how do we make sure the value of these homes stay in place if the board accepts an 80-foot lot? Because, that's going to be a hard pill for some people, I believe, on this board to swallow, potentially. But maybe if the value of the home offsets the shorter lots, I'm just trying to work out
Totally get what you're saying. So just to be clear, you want the language to be revised to basically protect the overall value and not to leave it an open-ended, hey, if we say, you know what, we got this 1,800 square foot house that we're going to try to push through, or something with zero stone, you don't want that to happen.
But you're still meeting our building size requirements.
Of course.
Correct.
And
So you're not,
right, so the 1,800 square foot, I'm sorry, that was a misspeak but basically the exterior elevation, you wanted to meet your requirements as well.
Just what's being proposed to us.
Sure.
I'm getting concerned when it says upon architectural review. That means someone can change it other than this board.
That makes perfect sense. And to allay that
But-
concern, and we can work on that verbiage. To allay the concern, though, is it was literally written for that specific home because of how cool it is, and it
Okay.
doesn't meet that criteria overall, even though it meets all the structural, the amount of square footage and things like that. But the aesthetic of the home will not allow for that, and that's the reason why we wrote.
And
it.
usually with the PUDs, we require in our PUD ordinance like floor plans, elevation plans and stuff like that. So maybe if they do have some like Frank Lloyd Wright houses and stuff, we could look at all the models and maybe as part of the approval of the PUD, approve the certain.
Yeah. No, because I want everyone to have their own liberties of what type of house they want.
And I think that looks better too, like when you mix it up, if you.
Because I don't want everyone to have the same looking house.
Right, if you just put the same 4 foot of stone on
And
the
to
front.
his point,
and
we
call it
actually
a
have
day.
several elevations. I'm so sorry to interrupt. To this point, we have several elevations as well, other than that one that we do that prairie style roof, just to break up that elevation because we have like a super popular home called the Albert, and you don't want to see 100 Alberts, even though if there are 3 houses down or whatever the deal is. We're going to try to break up the best we can to give alternate elevations, and that roof style is one of them. And it's not going to meet that 612 pitch, but however, I think we'll all agree that the aesthetic of it is gorgeous.
Right.
So like the 25, it says on this elevation, so it's not going to be on some of these
You can live.
where it wraps all the way around the base. It's got to be on the front of the house.
Correct.
Okay. Because I mean, some of these pictures I'm looking at right now, these are beautiful homes. I would have, but I'm just trying to protect the future value of the neighborhood and
And
things
that's
like
one, the
that.
top left corner is the one with like a 412 roof pitch because it's got a flatter roof.
And that's a beautiful home.
And then you get something like the white one that's got like a 612, 812 pitch on the front of the garage there. So,
Yeah.
the steeper pitch is nice, but then when you do the bigger overhangs and stuff with the prairie style, that looks nice too.
And if you guys, whatever, I'm not an architect or builder, the wraparound brick, if it's 25 and they
Stone
do.
return.
Yeah, the
Stone return.
returns. Yeah,
If you
that's
can-
one of our standards as well.
So, but that's not listed in here. Could we, at least in my, I would like to see a stone return.
Yeah, like a
I think a
2-foot
stone,
stone return.
I think a stone
Yep.
return looks better than it just,
Then just ending at the
Yep.
front end.
Front of the-
so probably more clear cut.
Yeah.
but then I'm sorry, Bob, I interrupted.
No.
But then if they do the stone return and then they put a gable that has siding, the stone return might add up to 25%.
And so again, I know we're not going for a vote or any sort of recommendation. Again, just getting in front of you again. So the next step would be to come to the next study session with a more solidified covenants for review along with our PUD outline. And then, be in front of you guys again early August with that information solidified again.
So, Michael, we have a study session in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly from the study session, can you put the square footage or
Yes,
the, on?
yep.
I think you asked for the square footage.
No, I asked for lot widths.
Lot widths.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then any other, summary of the covenant is, tighten that up. I don't know if you use 2x6, 2x4.
2x6.
2x6.
I would like to see that. Then any of those upgrades that you guys do, it'd be good to have it in here. But then but then now you're held to 2x6 at the same time, because it will be part of the PUD.
So, and to your point, we have never built a home to this date without a wrap around for zone. And all of our homes are 2x6, and not just for our value it's also because when you look down a 2x6 home with siding, you don't see waves as much as you do with 2x4. So it's just a better constructed home. And to date, we've never built a 2x4 home either.
But that's great. But again, I want to try to minimize the exception upon architectural review.
100%.
Absolutely.
So if it says 2x6 in here, then it will be part of whatever the motion of the board is, it will be on paper, and we'll have that listed. So if there's granite countertops, if there's any other upgraded amenities, I would like to see that, because then I think my comfort level on a smaller lot, knowing that the value is actually going into the house and not to the land, is, I would feel comfortable with.
Clarify, would you like that in the covenants, or would you just like to see a standard features sheet that we'd be offering in that home?
It would be whatever's part of your approval process, because it will be made part of whatever the motion is, this will be part of the record, so. I would like just to see more of how the home is gonna be built, what's gonna be in it, and amenities besides, what's here. And then again, how will we address that architectural review without putting any additional burden on this plan commission or the town, how you guys would address that, maybe in other communities, that'd be great to hear, see how you guys do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? And your side yard setbacks are how far? 8 to 10?
Whatever the standard R2 side
8 feet
yards
would
are.
be R2.
Yep.
8 feet?
If it's R2.
So 8-foot lot, I heard it's 53 foot wide if it's a three-car garage, but that's a minimum, so it could go wider.
Mhm.
If it's like a ranch, you'd probably go wider.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Anyone online? Before we let these guys go, we're gonna beat them up one more time at the study session before they come. Well, wait, is it announcement in August of a public hearing, or would
Sounds
it?
like they're requesting to come back for a study session, present more refined, tightened up covenants, the makings of a PUD, and then prepare for a public hearing in August.
But don't we have to announce it today?
Well, if the commission wants to move forward with having the public hearing, we'll get it on the agenda and work with them on meeting those requirements for the public hearing.
Well, I thought we had to make an announcement that there will be a public hearing at the next month's meeting.
I think we just do that as a courtesy.
Oh, we just do that as
Yeah.
courtesy?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
I just want to make sure we're doing, because like right now, we have a public adherence announcement for St. John Industrial Park, but that's
Correct.
just a courtesy, it's not,
Yes.
okay. I just want to make sure we're dotting our i's, so.
So they're wanting to advance, and they're
Okay.
wanting to make sure that the commission is comfortable with them wanting to advance.
I like the new layout, the look. Again, density doesn't scare me. I just want to make sure the architectural, the aesthetics of the home is top notch. So,
Understood.
You won't be disappointed.
all right.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Well, and any other questions or comments from the board before we let these gentlemen go?
I'm all good. Thank you.
All right, we're good. All right, next on the agenda, we have ordinance 1734. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Adam for a recap.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. So, just a brief bit of history. Last year, when I started the position with the town in my discussions with Paul Panzik and Rick Eberly, at that time, the zoning ordinance, as well as the rules and regulations for the BZA and the Plan Commission, required that any legal notice for a public hearing be published once in 2 newspapers, with the publication occurring not fewer than 15 days prior to the date of the hearing. At that time, the discussion was had to perhaps update or revise those requirements to make them more consistent with state law. State law requires that there be a minimum of publication in one paper at least 10 days before the date of the hearing. So I guess it was earlier this year, beginning with the Plan Commission, adopted a resolution to make that change to require public notice of a hearing be made one time in one newspaper at least 10 days before the date of the hearing. The St. John zoning ordinance contains provisions that, again, as I indicated, required publication in 2 newspapers at least 15 days. And so there was, at the Plan Commission, a recommendation made to the town council to change the zoning ordinance to make it consistent with the updated rules and regulations for the Plan Commission. At the town council did not approve the proposed change, but rather made recommendation and approved that there be one notice in 2 newspapers at least 10 days before the date of the hearing. And so that is essentially where the zoning ordinance is currently. When that vote was taken, I believe in March, it did not come back to the Plan Commission because I don't think anyone was notified or made aware of that vote taken at that time. And by law, after 45 days, because the Plan Commission took no action, that ordinance, as amended by the council, effectively became law. So currently, the Plan Commission, its rules and regulations require that there be notice published one time in one newspaper at least 10 days before the date of the hearing. For the BZA, it's required to follow the ordinance, which requires one legal notice in 2 newspapers at least 10 days before the date of that hearing. So I know there's been some discussion whether or not the Plan Commission wants to consider updating its rules and regulations to make it consistent with the zoning ordinance as has been adopted and has been pursuant to that procedure, or not. And so that's where we're at today, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the notice requirements for hearings before the Plan Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Any questions or comments for Adam? Adam, no, I thought the state changed the rules for public notification. I don't know if anyone, is it now one? So just for some historical understanding and knowledge, several years ago, the discussion was to change the Plan Commission. It wasn't really the notification in the newspaper, it was a date, a timing issue. State law requires only 10 days. Town of St. John was 15, so if anyone came to the Plan Commission and asked for a waiver because they notified the paper 14 days and not 15, residents thought we were subverting our rules. And so we thought we would just go with the state requirements of 10 days. But then, you know, the state has, I believe the rule is only one notification in one newspaper. So we just try to be consistent with the state. But now I think the state changed it, where is it one newspaper and then one electronic? No, that is not the case.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, what happened, the legislation that was passed by the Indiana legislature and signed into law on effective July 1st essentially says, it added to a provision of Indiana Code 531 that says, if the town is required to publish notice twice, which it is required to do in certain circumstances, but those circumstances are not related to Plan Commission hearings or BZA hearings. So the change that was made to the statute doesn't really apply to the Plan Commission or the BZA, but could apply in other circumstances. But in that case where the town is required to publish 2 times, it can publish the first notice in the newspaper, and then the second notice, rather than publishing it in the newspaper, it can effectively satisfy that requirement if it's posted in the public website for the town. And if the town maintains a public website where that can be viewed, then that will satisfy the requirement for second publication. So that's essentially what the change in the law provides.
Okay. So then discussion today would be, does the plan commission want to relook at the ordinance? Or, I mean, we could do nothing and it stays the same, or do we want everything to be consistent with what goes on with the plan commission and the BZA? And I can tell you, I think for developers and anyone else, it would be nice that the town of St. John is consistent across the board, that the BZA and the plan commission have the same rules and regulation. It just, it's less tedious. So either, plan commission changes back our rules to 2 days, 2 papers, 10 days apart, or we look at changing back the BZA to 1 paper. But again, it's a recommendation of the town council, and the town council will make
Well,
that
yeah, so
recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, let me just clarify. So I think the options are, the plan commission could this is just a vote that would be taken, and it would be a formal resolution, but to amend its rules and regulations to make that consistent with where the Board of Zoning Appeals and the zoning ordinance is at, which is publication once, 2 newspapers, 10 days before the hearing. And if the Plan Commission were to take that action, then the rules and regulations of the Plan Commission would be consistent with the BZA and the zoning ordinance.
And the state.
And it would be in compliance with state law, that's correct. So that's one option. Another option would be to do nothing, which means then the Plan Commission rules and regulations would not be the same as the zoning ordinance provisions for public hearings. And that would be acceptable. That would be legal, but again, I don't know from a policy perspective that would be advisable. And I think the third option would be perhaps for the Plan Commission to take up the change in the zoning ordinance to, if the Plan Commission's position that it wants 1 publication in 1 newspaper 10 days before the hearing, then it could conceivably take that up, make a recommendation to the town council. The town council would, consider it, take any action it might deem appropriate. So you have some options with what the Plan Commission elects to do.
And none of this has to go before the BZA, as me and Nancy intently
Correct.
listen?
Yeah,
Okay.
there would nothing that goes before the BZA. And really, only if, like I said, if the Plan Commission decides to change its rules and regulations, the Plan Commission can do that. It doesn't need any approval from the town council or the BZA. It just would be simply a resolution adopted by the Plan Commission.
So I will open it up for any discussion from board members. You heard recommendation or options from Adam. Is there any direction the board would like to take?
This is Yolanda. I think it would make the most sense, at least in my mind, to go with option 1, which would be to have the notice requirement be consistent with the BZA, just for purposes of consistency. And, more importantly, it's also compliant with state law. I think that makes the most sense. So option 1 would be what I would do.
Thank you, Yolanda. Anyone else?
I would second that.
Okay. Well, why don't we get a resolution put together for the Plan Commission at our next meeting, and we'll discuss it one more time in study session, and then we'll put it on the agenda for August.
Mr. Chairman, I'll have a proposed form of resolution with those requests available at the next study session.
Very good. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we just have a public hearing announcement, St. John Industrial Park Lot 3 Primary Plat Review for an easement deduction. We will also have Astoria proposed rezone of PUD for 96 family lots on public hearing as well. Public comment? Anyone from the public would like to comment? Hearing no one from the public. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that one. Second, all in favor? All right, we're all in favor.
All in favor.
Hey, everyone have a great evening. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, wasn't it 1 newspaper? Who did? Yeah.
Nobody gets the paper.
state requires one newspaper 10 days.
We're still state compliant either way, but.
It's just more cost for the developers and the
Yeah,
homeowners.
so we'll have to let, right, whenever that resolution's adopted.
Wait, so I think there's some confusion, because Yolanda thought it was state law.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's,
Either way, it's just, the cost is gonna be passed on.
The
well then,
council-
hold off, because we should, the whole I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to interrupt you.